guys, this is Stephen Grant with Diamond Fishing Products, and I'm here today to show you how to do a hollow core splice. All right, first thing we got to do is get the correct size needle for the mono or fluorocarbon that we're going to splice. And today we're going to be splicing in 130 pound fluorocarbon into 150 pound new diamond yardline hollow core. A couple tools for the job here. One thing that you need is a very sharp pair of line cutters. And the purpose of this is so that we can cut at a real sharp angle, okay, so that we can put this fluorocarbon into the smallest needle possible, and it just makes it a little bit easier to get into the hollow core. So let's find the right needle. That's my needle right there. And we have a kit that has everything you need to make splices. It's our little Diamond Pro hollow core splicing kit. It comes with a loop needle, a reverse latch, and about 5 different size mono needles. All right, next thing we're going to do, we're going to go into our Pen 70 right here. And we recommend doing at least 36 inches. I usually like going in about 4 feet, but at least 36 inches on your splice. So I like to take my braid and start with a fresh, clean cut. All right, and after cutting it, I like to take the hollow core and just kind of tap it with my fingers a little bit, and it kind of mushrooms the end and opens it up, as you can see right there, and it'll allow me to put the needle in a little bit easier. See, and you can see how these needles are actually designed is they have a little hole in them and they're round on the end, okay, so that they're not going to actually cut the braid. It's made just to kind of push the mono or fluorocarbon inside the hollow core, and it's going to actually create a Chinese finger trap, which is an unbreakable knot, okay? And once again, once we get started, just take your time. We're going to go in, like I said, about 42 to 48 inches. And you can see what I'm doing is once you push it on a little bit, it gets a little bit bunched up. You just push it over the top of the needle, and it'll start stretching down there on the fluorocarbon. And sometimes if it comes out the side, you just back up a little bit and just push it back through again, no problem. All right, let's check our distance with our custom tape measure. Yeah, that's 4 foot, okay. Now once you get in the distance that you need, you just simply kind of twist the needle a little bit and it'll slide right out the side of the hollow core, okay? Then pull that out, and what I like to do at this point is we had kind of a sharp end there. I like to cut it off flat at this point right here, okay? So we'll take this, cut it off flat, and now we're going to hide that back into the hollow core. And real important on this part is you really want to pull the braid tight so that it stretches down as far as it really needs to go. Now for the whipped end. To do the whipped end, I usually leave it in my line winding machine, but you can also make a jig, and I have this little jig here that we've been using for several years. It's just got a couple of tensioner knobs on each side, and this way it'll keep the splice nice and tight while I go and make the whipped end. The key to this part at this point is having this nice and tight, okay? Makes it a lot easier to do our finished whip end here. All right, so now at this point, there's a couple of different ways you can serve the end of your splice. Some people like to use a bobbin and some braid. I personally am kind of an old school guy. I like using 30-pound tacky wax, and we're going to tie about 347,000 half hitches around this. With your 30-pound tacky wax, now this comes in several sizes. We make a 30, a 50, and a 70. The 30 is the best size for finishing a wind on, okay? So that's the one that I'm going to recommend everybody uses. And I start with about, I don't know, about 2.5 feet of this tacky wax. And we'll just cut it again with our razor blade. And you want to start the serve on the braid side, okay? Now what this is going to do, if you could see, I could pull this whole knot away right now. Okay, so what the serve does is it actually keeps the hollow core tight to the mono or fluorocarbon to prevent the Chinese finger trap from coming undone. Okay. So we'll start this off with just a little uni knot on one side, and I usually like to do a thumb on each side, okay, which is a little over 1 inch. So I'll tighten this up a little bit. We'll go ahead and trim this tag end with our razor blade, and now is when we get a little bored doing this, but we're going to continue to just throw the same side. So when you're doing this, the way I like to do it is you keep doing just a little half hitch, one half hitch after another, and you keep going the same rotation. What this is going to do is it's going to create a little bit of a spiral with the tacky wax. Now, some other people that I've talked to over the years, they like to alternate, okay? And then they'll take it and roll it on the table to try to make it a little bit more streamlined, but I kind of like the stairway. I think it looks cool too. Now, when you start getting up here, this is tacky wax, so it does have wax on it. I like to take my fingers and kind of run it over the wax and over the frayed end. As you can see, it kind of helps keep it closer to the fluorocarbon, so it's a little easier for me to go over it. All right, now is where it starts getting a little bit important. We want to make sure we keep these frays as tight as possible. So when you do your half hitch, kind of hold it with your finger. Okay, if you can see that, and then you could barely pull it forward and it'll come off like that. And you'll see I'll do this about 4 or 5 more times. Now from here, we're just going to continue about, like I said, about another inch. This is all going to help keep our whipped end from coming undone. All right, and once you get to the end of this side here, we're just going to finish this off the same way that we started it, with just a little half hitch. We're just going to come through this 3 times. Then we'll trim this side with the razor blade. And as you can see, now we have like perfect little spiral wrapped around the whipped end, okay? I like to take a little bit of super glue, okay? And I mean just a little bit. See those 2 drops right there? That's all we need. Take your fingers and you kind of run it over it. And watch, you see this knot is going to totally change here in just a minute. So what that super glue does is it'll melt the wax. It heats the wax up and gets it to seal itself off. So now this thing is ready to rock. If you like this video and you want to see more, subscribe to Capt Rick Murphy's YouTube channel. Appreciate you watching.